I walk through space and run through time. I visit corners of my mind, then come down and talk to you. I know it's hard at times to unwind, but in this space I hope you find your light inside and shine with Saul. Just a few of us. We gon' make it if we climb. Just a few of us. Just a few of us. Just a few of us. I hope you stay and enjoy this ride. Just a few of us. You and I. You hear me? Yeah, do you hear me? Cause everybody ain't gonna go. And everybody can't go with you. And change don't happen in the comfort zone. You hear me? I say that because when you remember as a divine being, it's important that we live appropriately, accordingly. You hear me? To your divine essence. And I say that to say this. Everybody receives the calling, but not everybody answers. You hear me? Not everybody answers. So if you hear, I hope you get it. And if you hear, I know you get it when I say it's the difference between knowing the path and being one of the people who actually live it and walk in it. Don't get tricked out here. You hear me? It's a lot of charlatans and a lot of deceivers, you know. It's one thing to know the path. It's a whole other thing to walk in it and live in it. You hear me? And for those of us who do, don't forget to have fun with it. Otherwise, it's an honor being me. And I'm known as Sawu, you hear me? Yes, sir. Don't get tricked out here. Um, Let me see. Oh, before I forget, appreciation. Appreciation is appreciated. You hear me? Appreciation is very much appreciated. And I, I'm always moved. I'm always moved when those of you who come through and recognize, my participation with the collective for what it is through the messages. I move to do anything. If it ain't nothing but hit the like button, if it ain't nothing but drop the comment, you know. But I say that to say I appreciate those that be moved to cash out, love offer, donate, whatever you want to call it, because you don't have to, and I don't and I don't ask for it. I'm not one of those channels that ask for it, and be hit the cash app. And I'm not one of them channels that do all that. So when y'all be moved to do that, I want y'all to know that it moved me too. That go for Sean, Alex, Maria, Jennifer Ann, Lady Dread, Mike. And if I miss anybody, let me know. You hear me? But y'all don't have to do that. And when y'all show that type of generosity, um, I don't want it to go unknown that it's appreciated. You hear me? And may your cause come back into effect. If not tenfold, 100-fold on your current path. You hear me? And I have full confidence about it that it will, and I speak life into it. You hear me? As you move forward with your future self and all your endeavors. You hear me? With that being said, stillness, abundance, love, light, health, and wholeness. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Salute to everyone who broke free, and salute to everyone who break it free. And and anyone on their way to get there. You hear me? Amongst so many who still sleep and connected to people, places, and things that was put in place that had us sleep or to keep us sleep in the first place. You hear me? And disconnected from ourselves. You know, I say that because until we able to disconnect from it, a lot of times we don't even know that we in it. You hear me? But until we able to disconnect from it and start finding our way out this earth matrix, so we can step into the divine matrix. You hear me? As we go deep into oneself, only then do it really start making sense. You know, the more due to disconnections that come with breaking free. Because in order to get connected, we gotta know what to disconnect from. You hear me? So disconnection come with breaking free, and reprogramming come with staying free. I'm gonna repeat: disconnection come with breaking free, and reprogramming and deprogramming in some cases come with staying free. And that and yeah, it's like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. How many of us have ever heard a dog would never defecate where they lay their head? Or I know in the Bible it say something like a dog never returned to his vomit. And if I'm misquoting it, y'all can let me know if you know that book like that, because I don't know that book like that. But I have, you know, I come from those type of people that, you know, that was their go-to. And I heard a lot of things in the house. You know, I've read it myself on numerous occasions, but I don't know it like that, so you can feel free to check me on it. You hear me? I don't have no problem with being corrected. You hear me? If it's still pushing me in the right path. But a dog would never defecate where they lay their head at. They use their senses to navigate and know the land in which they tread upon. I use that to say we must learn to do the same thing. You know, we must learn to use that same process in this process of unlearning. And I share that because I still hear the term woke being used by those who use it. So I would like to pose a few questions to the woke folk. You hear me? What's the reason that you woke up? Because a lot of people holler woke but don't even know why they woke up until we go to questioning ourselves. What's the reason you woke up? And why did you wake up? And if you got a pen and pad, you might want to write these questions down so your inner self can speak to your outer self about these questions. So your inner self can give you the answers. What's the reason that you woke up? And why did you wake up? Why was you selected out of all people? Because everybody received a calling, but not everybody answered. So what's the reason you woke up? And why did you wake up? Why was you selected out of all the people you come from, out of all the people you know, you hear me, work with, so forth and so on? Why was you selected? You hear me? Or did you choose yourself based on the experiences that you have had and just know something wasn't right and something had to change? And in order for something to change, that you had to change in order to make the difference and be the difference, so you can see the difference that you wanted to see. You don't listen, you're gonna miss it. Stay with me. Sometimes I talk fast, sometimes I talk slick, but you gotta have a fast ear. You hear me, and you will get it. You know. What was the reason? What were you meant to do or supposed to do now that you woke? Are you supposed to help other people through what you have learned, by the experiences that you have had? What was the purpose of it? You know, because people still sleep. Everybody ain't woke. So what was the reason? Are you supposed to help the people who still sleep and we all know something? Are you supposed to bring something different into this reality that ain't never been done? As you become better than you never been? Because we ain't perfect. We all part of the fall. What was the reason? Are you a creator of realities? Here to show other people how to create their realities? Because law of attraction is a big thing, and we hear a lot that, we create our own realities, and we do. You hear me? To the extent that we do. You hear me? But we ain't here by way of ourselves. It took other people. It took two people for us to get here. And then it took source intelligence, earth, air, fire and water. You hear me? For us to be here. Stay with me. Yeah, but what was the reason? How are you giving back? How are you giving back to all you learned to pass on and assist others who ain't there yet, who ain't where you at? How are you giving back? Once again, I appreciate y'all who donate to the channel, who send love offerings, who hit the like button, who have subscribed. I appreciate y'all. You hear me? That's where all this coming from. How are you giving back through all you learned to pass on and or assist others who haven't made it yet? We hear the term, it's better to give than receive. But few know what it means. And for those who don't, let me assist you if you don't. You hear me? To give means you got it. Because you can't give what you don't have. You hear me? To give means you got it. Because you can't give what you have. And it make me think of a Bible scripture that say, from the abundance of the heart, our treasures flow, or something like that. And once again, for those who know that book like that, check me on it if I'm wrong. But to some extent, it's a scripture that say from the abundance of the heart, our treasures flow. But to give mean you got it, and to receive mean you didn't have it. You hear me? These are simple truths based on spiritual concepts and insights to those who have the ability to comprehend it. Even T-Pain said, as I think about it, it ain't tricking if you got it. You hear me? And even though that verse was said probably from a lower vibratory space of meaning, the higher spiritual implications are still present in it for those who know. You hear me? And I share that because the more I give in all the forms that I do, the more I receive, the more come back to me. That's the law. That's the law. We reap as we sow. You hear me? And it may not be instantaneously, but we reap as we sow. What you put out, come back. What you put out, come back. And if it don't come back to you, it'll come back to those who come through you. You hear me? Good, bad, or indifferent. You hear me? The more I give, the more come to me, and that's the law. You reap what you sow, spiritually, physically, and financially. You hear me? But the question is, what space are you working from? What space are we working from? The root space, the heart space. You hear me? The crown space. What space are we working from? And then it's a couple spaces that's in between that I left out on purpose. But what space are we working from? These are important questions. Or are you working for a place? Are you working for a place for validation and acceptation? You hear me? Validation and acceptance. See, we either working from a space or we working from a place. You hear me? And they're not the same. It's the difference. Trust me. Validation or acceptance of people and acquiring the things. Are you seated in your divinity? Or are you saturated by your ego? Are you seated in your divinity, or are you saturated by your ego. It's a difference. You hear me? I share that because the way that the way that I operate and keep myself spinning in Mamba Carver, and we one and the same. I know because I do the work, and I don't look for myself in the world. You know, I look for the world inside of myself. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. Macabre, Merkable, whatever you know it as. And some may not know what it is, but you can look it up. MERKABA. You hear me? You know. But as I was saying, I don't look for myself in the world. I look for the world in myself, and it's a difference. It's a difference. And it got a lot to do with how we be vibrating. If we the space, or we looking for a place, validation and acceptance, or the outer world. Or we found that space within ourselves. You hear me? You know, I say that because the way Source express itself through me and as me gonna be totally different than how Source express itself through you. If you haven't become one with it. You hear me? Because everybody not operating it, and I said that the way I said it because everybody not operating. You know, through the function of their higher self. Everybody hasn't healed their inner child. You know, it's people still doing the work, and that's okay. You hear me? But yeah, all our journeys, you know, gonna have its way with us the way it's gonna have our way with us if we're not in the same space on our journeys, and that's a good thing because it give everybody something, you know, to grow from those that's in higher places or in higher levels of healing. You know, each one teach one, as they say. That's where all those terms come from. So everybody can't be in the same space, just like everybody can't go. You hear me? Who ain't moving with you can't go with you. So if you got an ear to hear, I know you listening. You hear me? And if not, you already missed it. You know, it's simple as that. Many are called, few are chosen for real. You know, everybody receives a calling, but not everybody answer, and that's why many are called and few are chosen. So as I said earlier, don't get tricked out here, you know, and especially don't get tricked because you tricking yourself. It ain't tricking if you got it. You hear me? You hear me? This inner work must be done. Healing is important. So this inner work must be done. You know, it can't be replicated. It can't be duplicated. You know, we can regurgitate and repeat all we want. You hear me? But if you ain't doing the work, it's gonna expose you. You know, I heard somebody say earlier today. It's been a long Friday, but I heard somebody say knowledge free, and I refuted that because knowledge is not free. Knowledge requires application, and to apply that which we know, it costs. I hope somebody listening. You hear me? Knowledge ain't nothing free about this. I don't ask the collective for nothing. But this ain't free. It requires you to do something. If you're gonna apply it in your life, you got to do something. That costs. It costs you to put in the work. If you listening, you won't miss it. You hear me? But this inner work must be done. This can't be replicated or duplicated without you being exposed to all who have an eye to see you and see through you. You hear me? But it's up to you to break the mold. You know? And I ain't doing this just for me. I ain't doing this just for my ancestors. You hear me? I'm doing it for you. But you're gonna have to make it count for you. You hear me? Otherwise, as I don't say it before, Instead of me being sitting here, you know, doing this communication, I love to be able to relax and be able to listen to one of y'all. And if y'all got a channel, let me know so I can check it out, so I can go subscribe. You hear me? Um, that's how we build together. That's how we build as a collective. You know, as we raise ourselves up. You know, it should put a heart in us to want to see others get built up too. And that's why I do this. You hear me? No strings attached. But my point of perception, from my point of perception and my space of reference, different. And that's what make how it's moving come out me different. You hear me? That's what make me unique. How you do it for you is what make you unique. And we all are. Nobody is the same. We all are unique. And that's the gift to all of us. You hear me? But I would be of no use. I say that to say this. I would be of no use if I wasn't authentically me. I would be of no use if I spoke about what everybody else speak about. Anunnaki and Jabberwocky and man, all that shit ain't got nothing to do with nothing that really got something to do with something. You hear me? Especially in a way that it can help us within, beyond just having a whole bunch of information to draw people in. That ain't what this about, man. It's so much information being dispersed that don't do nothing to help you with the inner work that got to be done. It just give you a whole bunch of information that has something to run our mouths about. You hear me? And that ain't it. You know, that ain't hitting on nothing. You hear me? But I would be of no use if I wasn't authentically me in all the versions of myself. And there's plenty of them. You hear me? Though you may see one body, it takes 4 bodies for me to be here. You hear me? Air, water, earth, and fire. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. You know. But if you do it, for those who do it, when you do, your ceiling become your flow. You hear me? And for those that's doing it, you know what I mean by that. You know, if you're doing this inner work, your ceilings become your flow. And then on the next level, your ceiling gonna become your flow. Then when you elevate some more, your ceiling gonna become your flow. And that's the journey. You hear me? Your ceiling become your flow. Healing is important, and communication is key. You hear me? Emotion is the door, self-love is the portal. Communication is key. Emotion is the door, and self-love is the portal. You hear me? I speak in reference to a lot of things because I've learned from many schools of thought. You hear me? And sifted through. You know, I use what's needed and discard what don't make no sense. Because everything we learn, you know, it's not sensible. It's not sensible to everyday living. So therefore, it's not practical for everyday application. We can't put it in. A lot of things we learn we can't put in practice. You heard? But I use the alchemical processes to reveal many parts of myself that was hidden from those I knew, that was even hidden from myself. You know, to say all that has been is not all that will be. But it will reveal itself to you when you're ready. You hear me? We hear the term, when the student is ready, a teacher will appear. And when a student is truly ready, a teacher will disappear, because then it's on you. then you gotta do the work. You hear me? Self work. And I repeat, self work. But as I said, all that has been is not all that will be. And it will require some work, some self work. And that means it's up to you to create a highly conducive environment for yourself as well as those around you, for your soul's greatest expansion. Not only your soul's greatest expansion, but for your soul's greatest ascension. At least while you here. Cause everybody ain't going where they think they're going. If you ain't did no work here, you still the same thing you been since you still the same person you been since you been here. You know, and depending on where you living from in that, you already prepared it for yourself. If you listening, you won't miss it. You know, but it's up to you to create a highly conducive environment for your soul's expansion and ascension. Not just for you, but for the ancestors and the little ones that gotta come up behind us. You hear me? And it's important that I say that, you know. Emotional maturity is a very visible sign of self-improvement. Otherwise, something being hidden, something being masked, something don't been swept under the rug, you know, and it's brewing underneath, waiting to explode when the right circumstances present itself at the wrong time. You hear me? I say that to say, know when to reset, to reconnect to you. You know, we just had a new moon in Pisces yesterday. You know, well, Thursday, because the day's Saturday now. And the planet's busy having their influence on us. You know, as we busy having our influence on each other. You hear me? Embrace it, face it, and do the work to erase the things that's been holding you back, you know, from yourself, from being the best version of you, from being the greatest version of yourself. From anything that's keeping you from being greater than you never been. Embrace it, face it, and erase it. I'm gonna end the message with that before I go to rumbling. Feel good for no reason at all. You hear me? Feel good for no reason at all, and feel good for no reason at all. Command change over your life continually. Affirm positive things over your life continually. But remember, you know, positivity just don't get us there, and affirmation just don't get us there. You know, we got to put in some work. You know, discipline yourself. Meditate. You know, meditate. Cause when you sit in the silence of yourself, whatever you need to hear will get real loud. You hear me? So you get the message. You heard? Other than that, I love y'all. Stillness, abundance, love, light, health, and wholeness. Salute to the Cosmic Consciousness family and soul tribe. You hear me? Until we do it again, I'm known as Sawu. Be you how you be you. I love y'all, family. Peace.